Hello and welcome to Palace Intrigue. I am your host, Mark Francis. The Duchess of Sussex has once again drawn headlines and no shortage of commentary after attending a Broadway performance in New York with what has been described as an absolutely abnormal motorcade. According to Page 6, Meghan arrived at the Majestic Theatre last week to see the musical Gypsy, accompanied by a security detail that included 3 black SUVs and unmarked NYPD police vehicles. It's also reported that the Duchess had employed former Secret Service agents as part of her private team and that 2 intelligence detectives rode in the NYPD car. Photographers on the scene criticized the scale of the operation, calling it over the top and ridiculous, and raising questions about whether taxpayer resources were involved. One source reportedly fumed, "Meghan is out of control and over the top, and it's ridiculous if the city is paying for this. And if NYPD was not on duty, then they shouldn't be allowed to run lights. Somebody's got to be paying for it." One paparazzi source told Page 6, "It's absolutely abnormal, totally over the top and excessive." The source noted that even megastar Taylor Swift typically travels with no more than 2 vehicles, one for herself and one for security, and called Meghan's level of protection unusual for a celebrity. However, the NYPD's presence may stem from a 2023 commitment to provide additional protection to the Sussexes during their visits following a much-publicized incident in Manhattan last year. That episode, which Harry and Meghan described as a near-catastrophic car chase with paparazzi, led to global comparisons with the death of Princess Diana. The NYPD at the time confirmed a pursuit occurred but disputed the more dramatic elements of the couple's account. Former New York Mayor Eric Adams voiced skepticism, noting the unlikelihood of a prolonged high-speed chase through Manhattan's notoriously clogged streets. Photos soon emerged of the couple stuck in traffic in a yellow taxi, smiling, an image that stood in contrast to the claims of a relentless and dangerous pursuit. Palace Intrigue is based out of New York City, and we find the likelihood of a vehicle being able to get up to high speeds in Midtown in the evening unlikely. Maybe at 3:30 a.m. on Christmas Eve, but not in the evening. Ask the ambulance that's stuck behind you on 2nd Avenue, the one with the siren blaring at 120 decibels as you sit there stuck behind the cab and the garbage truck and sometimes can hear in the background of this recording. Following the incident, the NYPD characterized it as a challenging situation, but stopped short of making arrests. Behind the scenes, however, Prince Harry's team pressed hard for action. According to emails obtained by a Freedom of Information request, Harry demanded the NYPD arrest the paparazzi and accused the department of misleading him, even going so far as to contact California Governor Gavin Newsom for help connecting with New York prosecutors. Those communications, later submitted as evidence in Harry's legal case in the UK, formed part of the Prince's effort to reinstate his right to automatic police protection in Britain. Harry is currently appealing a High Court ruling that upheld the government's decision to offer him only case-by-case protection. His lawyers argue that the current arrangement is discriminatory and fails to reflect the risks he faces as a high-profile member of the royal family. While Harry may not have succeeded in compelling arrests, he did receive a letter from NYPD Intelligence Chief John Hart acknowledging that the paparazzi's behavior in New York had been reckless and persistently dangerous. Hart also indicated that the department would alter its approach to Sussex security in light of the incident, perhaps explaining Thursday's visible police presence. Though NYPD officials declined to comment on the specifics of Meghan's security that evening, a law enforcement source told Page 6, "It is not unheard of for celebrities to request NYPD support, depending on the threat level and nature of the event. It's something that can be made available based on the threat assessment and the circumstances of where they're going and what they're doing," the source said. The Duchess, who was not joined by Prince Harry, he was in Ukraine at the time, enjoyed a meal at Ralph Lauren's Polo Bar before attending the performance. After the curtain call, she met cast members backstage and posted a series of photos to Instagram, including a glowing tribute to actress Audra McDonald. "Her performance will leave you absolutely speechless," Meghan wrote, adding full-body chills. In the Express, Hanisha Sethi has a new Tuesday routine. Hanisha writes, "I have decided to form a new Tuesday morning routine which I am labeling Breakfast with Meghan Markle. It includes eating an omelette with eggs from a supermarket, not from my own garden chicken coop, and having confessions of a female founder blasting through my Apple HomePod speakers to ensure I do not miss out on any entrepreneurial tips from Meghan's new podcast guests." I was once again disappointed to hear Meghan's podcast edit start with more girl-gushing comments and endless praise from her second guest. During the episode, Meghan chats to the Indian-American founder of Girls Who Code, Reshma Surjani. The two first met at a meeting in Kensington Palace in 2018 when Meghan was a working royal and she was expanding her business. Meghan asks, "How did you end up in that meeting with me?" To which Reshma replied, "Because you're an amazing human." Reshma was the first Indian-American woman to run for US Congress. The go-getter guest even details how she had the backing of the singer John Legend, which at this point probably had Meghan's ears turning red. Even though Reshma describes how she lost spectacularly and the results were not even close, she details how this was the turning point for her in realizing she could push through and believe in herself. Of course, Meghan interrupts the fascinating tale with empty nouns and her own experiences, adding, "When it breaks open, it leaves space and room for so much more love, growth, resilience to all pour in," which Reshma simply replies, "Yeah." More Palace in just a moment. In the Daily Mail, Jan Moyer writes, "Once Meghan wanted to enrich the lives of millions." Jan points out that last week was quite a week for the Montecito 2, what with Meghan launching her podcast, her jams, her packets of pancake mix, and then with Harry flying into London on Air Angry to appear at the Royal Courts of Justice for the latest stage in his legal battle. During her Confessions of a Female Founder podcast, Meghan volunteered that she had suffered from postpartum preeclampsia after the birth of one of her children. She didn't say which one because that is like, super duper majorly private. Either that or it is a precious unpinned grenade of personal information to be publicly deployed at some point for maximum clicks or spends or sympathy votes. Plus, is there any way she can blame Kate? Asking for a friend who is even more cynical than I am. Also from the Daily Mail, Jane Hers tried all 8 of Meghan Markle's new as ever products, and in her words, they're a massive rip-off. Jane admits she wanted to like them. She loves Meghan's style, was intrigued by the Netflix special, and even got a bit misty when Meghan sent Kris Jenner that jam last year. But after waiting nearly a year and dropping a not insignificant sum of money, she says the line is mostly style over substance. At the very bottom of the list, the herbal hibiscus tea, described as drinking lip balm and dirty dishwater. One tester literally spat it out. The peppermint and lemon ginger teas didn't fare much better. Fragrant, yes, but the flavor practically non-existent. Then came the flower sprinkles, Meghan's apparent obsession on her show. In real life, potpourri from your aunt's bathroom, according to Jane. The crepe mix was hard to make and tasted like undercooked pancakes. The raspberry spread, the centerpiece of the whole line, was more sauce than jam, impossibly sweet, and ran off toast like a sticky mess. The wildflower honey with honeycomb looked the part, but the taste divided the room. Some liked it, others thought it was waxy. And yet there was a winner. The shortbread cookie mix with flour sprinkles actually delivered. The dough was a nightmare, but the final product was buttery, soft, and a genuine hit. Still, even that, Jane says, isn't worth a repeat purchase. Her final verdict, the as ever line isn't awful, it's just not special. If you're a diehard Meghan fan, maybe you'll enjoy the packaging and the vibe, but for everyone else, it's expensive, fussy, and mostly forgettable. Jane's suggestion, maybe Meghan should pivot to a curated picnic basket or baked donut mix next time, or maybe, just maybe, jam isn't her jam after all. Princess Lilibet has made an appearance in a Meghan Instagram post, with some suggesting it plays tribute to Queen Elizabeth. In a short clip shared via her Instagram stories, viewers saw Lilibet dressed in floral pajamas, reaching out with both arms to help slice and serve a sponge cake topped with sprinkles, a cake described as a special gift Papa brought back from Ukraine. The pastry, according to Meghan's caption, was brought home by Prince Harry following his recent visit to Lviv. Lilibet's face is not shown, but we do see her signature red hair, reminiscent of both her father and her royal ancestry, comes briefly into view as she hands out a piece of cake. Another pair of small hands, presumed to be those of her older brother, Prince Archie, were also seen in the clip, gently holding a slice while Lilibet digs in. Some royal watchers see the clip as a meaningful nod to the late Queen, who was famously fond of sponge cake and afternoon tea. Others believe Meghan is simply hawking her cooking show, podcast, and fruit spread business, and if someone to write articles claiming it's to honour the late Queen, so be it. And there you have it. If you'd like to email us, our address is thepalaceintrigue@gmail.com. Please follow us on Spotify, Apple, or the app of your choice, and leave us a review, 5 stars if you're enjoying the show. I'm Mark Francis. My thanks to John McDermott. This is Palace Intrigue. Good times.